Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's special committee of the whole meeting. It is Tuesday, March 4th, and it is 6:30 p.m. And should we do the roll call? Susan, can you do the roll? Is Susan there?
I don't think she's there anymore.
Okay. I guess I will do the roll. Finkler?
Oh, here.
Trina? Reed? Sorry. I'm not used to doing the roll.
I'm here.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, you're taking notes? Okay. Rosted?
Here.
Okay. Hammer?
Here.
Rolke is here. Lawson?
Here.
And Motif is excused. And Matt, thumbs up. The meeting was posted appropriately. Thank you. This is hard to do without Susan. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, and I would take a motion for same.
So move.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Yeah, at the moment Joe is. We'll just get this handled since Susan's not here. So yeah, it is also being recorded. Was there anybody who signed up for public comment? Nope. Thank you for that, Paul. First item under new business is discussion of memorandum of agreement, MOA, between the City of Columbus and the Wisconsin Department of Transportation regarding changes in access to State Highway 73 in the City of Columbus between Avalon Road and Tower Drive. And Mike?
Yes, thank you. With the development of Cardinal Heights, one of the items that the DOT was concerned about was the spacing of O'Brien Court on Park Avenue compared to the other roads along the way. It was less than ideal in their perspective. So they wanted to see this memorandum of agreement to address any potential issues that might come down the way. Staff feels that this is very unlikely. If you look in the part of the MOA, communicates the crash rates for the statewide average, and we're at 1/3 of that, and that's because our traffic coming off of Faith Drive is so low. It's very, very minimal except for Sundays. So we really don't think there's going to be any traffic issues, but the MOA here is just to codify our understanding that if at some point our crash rates get up to statewide averages, the studies would kick in to address those issues. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, unless Jason has more to add.
Yeah, and I will add that a little bit of the changes that we've been negotiating with is actually the area. So it's limited from Avalon to Faith Drive, so it's kind of a small area. The DOT was interested in kind of studying a larger corridor, and we felt like that this project was impactful to that smaller area, not such a large corridor. So there had been a couple meetings with staff and DOT. The attorneys had looked at the terms of the agreement on both sides, and I think we arrived at what's before you tonight is kind of the version that everybody kind of landed on. So I think from an engineering perspective, I was happy with it. I think it makes sense. The DOT wants some level of engagement from the community if there's issues, and not just say this isn't our highway. It's a connecting highway, so you guys do have some responsibility out there, but they also still control the connecting highways because they're state highways too. So there's some kind of agreement that they wanted in place here just to make sure that everybody knew what the roles were, and if there is something that happens in the future, what that means. So
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Is everybody comfortable moving this one forward for a vote? Oh, Matt?
Compliment.
I'm sorry?
Compliment. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Barely.
Well, maybe I won't be chiming in. I just wanted to compliment the work that Jason and Mike and Paul did on this. This was a big lift. And it's one of those things that people don't realize. when you see a finished product of the back and forth dance you do to get to a finished product. So thank you to all of them for the work they did on this.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Everybody's good moving this one forward for a vote then? Okay. Next item is discussion regarding bids received for Brookside Lane Street construction. And that one is Jason?
Yeah, good evening. So we had a couple projects that were out to bid. Both projects opened on February 14th. So those were for two projects. The second one will follow here. But the first one is for the Brookside lane improvements. So this would be from Avalon to the end, to the cul-de-sac. And again, just as a reminder that this was on our capital plan as a project we wanted to construct this year, really kind of driven by utilities. We want to extend and replace some of the water main out there. It is kind of done in conjunction with the hospital's upcoming project, so they can tie in for a redundant water source. It's a kind of long-term planning. We've been talking about this for a while. So that's really kind of driven this project forward. We were fortunate to get two bidders. When I say fortunate, the bid environment's been strange, as it always has been the last few years. But we did get two bidders. Costs come in pretty close to estimate. I would say they might be just a slightly higher, but we know that supply and material costs, and there's other things out there right now that are kind of factoring into this at this point. So the good news was, at least in my opinion, was Forest Landscape and Construction is a contractor who does a lot of work for the city of Columbus. They work well with staff, both at the utilities and the city, as well as our company. And they're pretty familiar with our standards and how we want things done. So they were actually the low bidder at $897,002. So as we bring this here before you tonight, we're just recommending approval of this bid to move the project forward. We still have a few things on our agenda to do with this project. There's a couple easements out there we're working on. We do have a special assessment that I have to bring back to you. But given that, we've kind of heard rumors that the contractor is looking to start this maybe sometime in the summer and finish it up late summer. It's not a big project. So schedule-wise, it fits within the bid cycle as well. So we're pretty comfortable with the bids and the contractor and kind of the plan right now. So as we go working forward here, we just need some kind of approval from you guys to move the bids forward so we can start the contracting process. So,
Thank you, Jason. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Matt, you got anything? Or not? Okay, is everybody comfortable moving this one forward for a vote?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item for discussion is bids received for Fireman's Park Stormwater Project. Jason?
Okay, so as I alluded to, this was the second bid that we had on February 14th. This one was interesting, more so. We had more contractors, and we had a much wider spread in costs. What we had here before us with all the contractors were below our estimated construction costs by quite a bit. And I guess I would take a second to explain why I think that is. A couple years ago, we had gotten pricing from a contractor conceptually without a plan. We also got pricing from the county without a plan, and they both kind of gave me the same number. So I thought, well, eureka. That's easy, right? I'll use that number as our estimate. So not knowing what all was entailed in this project, we designed it, and I felt like we even put a few bells and whistles on it, and we bid it out, and I think our estimate was in the upper 700,000s. And you can see the bids came in generally in that $500,000 range for the middle bidders, which I feel is probably representative of what the project costs. The low bidder is Egbert. They are a construction company that we have not used in town before, so we did obviously require them to submit qualifications, and we did review those. We did talk to some communities who have worked with them. Rupert Milky has done some work with them last year in a different community, and the engineer that I talked to said that they did a pretty great job. The explanation that I had heard was they were kind of aggressively looking to get the project because they need the fill they're going to remove for another project. And also they have some of the materials to bring back in their yard already, where they said, you know, we've been looking to get rid of some of this stuff for stone and whatever, and it just seemed to work out. So given that, We do feel like they're certainly in the business. They have the equipment to do the work. Their understanding of what the project is, we did talk to them and just verify to make sure that we're comfortable with it. So that's the base bid. As part of this project, there's also 2 alternate mandatories. If you remember, there was some park planning that went on with how do we keep the park unified with kind of cutting this large channel through the middle of the park. And the design that came out of that included 2 nice pedestrian bridges that were part of the bid, which were mandatory alternates. The reason we did mandatory alternates is if this would have came in at $700,000, $800,000 and the bridges were what they were, it would have been hard to do those bridges with the project. So we feel comfortable moving this forward and recommending, based on our research, the qualifications, the bids, the explanation from the contractor, and the mandatory alternates, I feel like we can recommend this project to include the alternates to do it all this year and still come in below where we were thinking we were going to be. So I know that's a little strange, but that's kind of how this one unfolded. So I guess it's better than the alternative is coming in and telling you that it's dramatically over budget. So we'll certainly keep an eye on this project as it progresses to make sure there's no unforeseen things, that the contractor comes back knowing that he was substantially low. Those are things that we tend to see as they will, I don't want to call it nickel or diming, but they'll ask for extras. And we've kind of indicated that that's not our intention with this job, if we move forward and award it. So I think right now we have faith that this contractor will execute the project the way we designed it and the way we understood it to be done.
Does anybody have any questions? Alder Reed?
Oh, not an actual question. You answered it with your explanation of the extra wanted gravel and whatnot. I just wanted to thank you for doing the research and finding a low bidder. This is wonderful, saving about $300,000.
Yeah.
That's always great news. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions? Is everybody comfortable moving this one forward?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Next item for discussion is internet segregation for cablecast broadcast units, and that one is going to be David.
Hey. All right. So we've been having pretty much a multiple month-long issue of with the new IT security and whatnot. Our cablecast units are causing payment card information compliance failures for recreation department, and if the city goes with any other credit card payments, it would do the same thing to that. And when you fail a check you do have one like every quarter, but then you fail one, and it becomes more and more frequent. It's now like every every month or something like that. So after multiple solutions, the one we came to an agreement with from Rhyme was to disconnect the cablecast servers off of the city network, and unfortunately, that would result in the loss of the cable channels and the Roku stream. So in order to try to maintain that, the Cable Commission would like to get separate internet to attach the broadcast units to.
Anybody have any questions for David? Comments? Is everybody comfortable moving that forward for a vote? Okay, thanks, David.
Yep.
Next item is discussion of Resolution 5-25, a resolution supporting the submission of a Community Development Investment CDI grant application by the Historic Tremont LLC to the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, WEDC, for a downtown Columbus revitalization project. Mike?
If a similar resolution like this seems familiar, you adopted one of these for 146 North Dickinson March of last year. And so the Tremont LLC owners are proceeding with a application, and one of those requirements is city support of that project. WEDC only will approve one project per community, and that's another way of trying to pick one that has local support. This would be for the Tremont Hotel, one of the kind of very visible projects in downtown that's been vacant for quite a few years. So this is a really good project to move forward, and an ideal project to be awarded for, by WEDC. I have a lot of positive vibes on this being a successful application.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? Is everybody comfortable moving that forward for a vote? Okay, perfect. Then the last item is to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.
We will move right
Excuse me, Amy?
Yes,
Amy?
yes.
Who was the second on the motion to adjourn, please?
Rosted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been back. I'm on the phone. I'm just listening.
Okay, we will move on to the regular Common Council meeting. So welcome to all that are here for this and that are also watching on the cable channel. So a roll call. Do it like we did the last time. Finkler,
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
I could do that, Joe.
Oh, you can do it? Okay. Go for it.
Finkler.
Here.
Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Motif is excused. Reed.
Here.
T.
Is that me? I'm here.
Yes. Rostad.
Here.
Right.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I acknowledge this meeting was noticed and posted according to law.
Okay, thank you. So I would look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So the motion was by Rosted, second by Finkler to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. Public comment? Nope. Okay. Anybody that wishes to speak? Okay. Then we will move on to the consent agenda, which is the Common Council and Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from February 19th of 2025. Also, the mayoral appointments to the Columbus Historic Landmarks and Preservation Commission and the Columbus Utility Commission.
Alder Rolke will move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Lawson to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consent agenda approved. Okay, let me just get caught up here. I went too far. Okay, I got it now, thanks. So first, under new business, is to consider and take action on the purchase of the washer extractor for the fire department from McQueen in the amount of $6,804.
Reed moves to approve the McQueen Circuit washer extractor for $6,804.
Second.
Okay, motion by Reed, second by Finkler. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none. Roll call, Susan?
Relke.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Stead.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is to consider and take action on Task Order 2025-01 with Rupert Milkie for the 2025 maintenance, street maintenance program. This would include the slurry seal, the crack seal, and then road ratings, the Whistler, so.
And there's also a grant component of this, so if anybody's got any questions. What?
The county aid?
Yes, the
Oh,
county.
yeah, county aid
Grant.
also, yep.
I'll move to approve task order 2025-01 with Rupert Milkie for 2025 street maintenance program.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Lawson. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call.
Lawson.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Brelke.
Aye.
Brostad.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay, next on the agenda then is item number 5, which is to consider and take action on the MOA between the City of Columbus and the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
Move to approve the MOA with the City of Columbus and the Wisconsin DOT as presented in the packet.
Alder Rolke will second.
Motion by Alder Rosted, second by Alder Rolke. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call for this also.
Reed.
Aye.
Brostad.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Brelke.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is to consider and take action on awarding the bid for the Brookside Lane project to Forest Landscaping and Construction in the amount of $897,002.
I'd make a motion to award the bid to Forest Landscaping Construction in the amount of $897,002.
I think you have to add for the 2025.
For the 2025 street and utility improvement project.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Alder Lawson, second by Alder Rosted. Further discussion on this?
Page 32,
Page 32.
it says the contracted price is 22 cents higher.
Oh, yeah. Good catch.
Oh,
It was in the committee of the whole as well, but I guess I didn't read the resolution to say.
I honestly don't know what the correct amount is right now at this moment. I would have to go back and look at the original bids. It'll take me a few minutes to get that, but I could confirm. I don't know how you guys want to move forward with that.
Can we just do an up to?
Oh, yeah. It's 22 cents.
Yeah. Does somebody have to amend the original then?
I'll make an amendment to make the amount up to $897,002.22.
I'll second the amended motion.
are you caught up, Susan, on this?
Adding 22 cents to the original motion?
Yeah,
Got it.
okay. Any further discussion? You got something, Jay?
It is not 22 cents, but I apologize. It is.
It's the
even.
$2.
Sorry, I just found it.
Okay, all right.
So we can go up to 22 if you're comfortable with that.
Cool.
I'll pitch in the 20 cents.
I'll pitch in the 2.
All right, very good. Then, Susan, could I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Lawson.
Aye.
Brostad.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is to consider and take action on the award of to Egbert Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $476,267.50 for the Fireman's Park Stormwater Project.
Alder Rolke will move to award the bid to Egbert Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $476,267.50 for Fireman's Park Stormwater Project.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Finkler. Further discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call.
Finkler.
Aye.
Rostad.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Consider and take action on the internet segregation for cablecast broadcast units, as was discussed earlier with David's recommendation.
I was gonna say the motion
Oh.
to consider the dollar amount.
Yeah, but
Is that this one here?
Initial cost of the 6,000
the initial cost was $6,165.08 with a recurring cost of over $2,800 annually. Is that correct, David? Yes.
I'll move to approve the internet segregation for cablecast broadcast units in the initial cost of $6,165.08 and a recurring cost of
2,800.
over, I'll just say a recurring cost of $2,800 annually. Oh, it says over.
Do you have clarification on that, David?
I don't, we don't need to approve a recurring cost, right? Because it gets added,
That gets approved in the budget.
Yeah.
right, it's added to the budget.
Yeah, that would be reallocated in the budget,
Yeah.
the recurring costs.
Okay, all right.
Do you need that initial 2,800 now, or is that gonna be next budget?
No, that's, the total for both charter and cablecast, combined is going to be needed now.
Okay.
Okay. And then the recurring charter one, that would be every year after that.
Okay. So I'll amend my motion to just be the initial cost of $6,165.08. Right?
Okay.
Okay, we need a second.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Lawson. Discussion? Ryan?
Just making sure the numbers are right. Or did I leave it on? I'm sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, hold on. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Then could we have a roll call on this?
Sure. Relke.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Rostad.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Have it, 5-0.
Okay. Then next on the agenda is to consider and take action on Resolution 5-25, a resolution supporting the submission of a community development investment grant application by the Historic Tremont LLC to the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation for a downtown Columbus revitalization project.
I'll move to approve Resolution 5-25.
Alder Rolke will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Lawson, second by Alder Rolke. Any further discussion on this? You know, we're going to do roll call because then everything will just be consistent. So, roll call.
Rostad.
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Finkler,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay. Next is to consider and take action on the claims in the amount of $4,352,813.70.
Alder Rolke will move to pay the claims in the amount of $4,352,813.70.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Rosted. Discussion on this? Hearing none. Roll call.
Relke,
That's you, Amy.
Oh, sorry. Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Rostad,
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay, thank you. And then last item is to consider and take action on an amendment to the Cardinal Heights final plat. The proposed amendment adjusts the lot line with the outlot by 6 feet. This adjustment helps with the development of lot 1.
Alder, oh, go ahead, Ryan. Alder Rolke will move to approve the amendment to the Cardinal Heights final plat.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Rosted. Discussion on this?
Just one question.
Yeah.
So is it making lot 1 smaller or larger?
Larger.
Larger, so it's moving.
South, moving the lot.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Roll call, Susan.
Lawson,
Aye.
Reed,
Nay.
Relke,
Aye.
Rostad,
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 4-1.
Okay. Report of city officers. Matt, do you have anything to add today?
I'll decline to provide a report.
What I couldn't catch.
Declines.
Oh, okay, all right. And I don't really have anything to add other than I hope everybody gets on their way to being healthy. I know City Hall, it's been quite the stretch of everything that's going on. Sympathies to our city treasurer, Crystal Larson, who is out in Utah for her mother's funeral. And plus that, she's been dealing with some health issues also. So, yeah, please keep Crystal in your prayers. With that, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Rosted to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.
Is everybody good? Just rolling right through?
Mike, are you still in there? The previous packet? Those numbers don't add up for Ryan.
Yeah.
I get 767.84.44.
What we do about that now? We would probably have to bring it back to the next meeting, I would think. Okay, well, we'll move forward with the Committee of the Whole meeting then. Welcome back to the Committee of the Whole. It's still Tuesday, March 4th. It is 7:05 p.m. And Susan, if I could have a roll call, please.
Sure. Finkler,
Here.
Hammer,
Here.
Lawson,
Here.
Motive is excused. Reed,
Here.
Relke,
Here.
Rostad.
Here.
I acknowledge this meeting was also posted and noticed according to law.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, and I would take a motion for same.
So move.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Alder Rostad and a second from Alder Finkler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. Included in tonight's packet are committee minutes for file from CHLPC on 1/22 of 25, PFC from 1/8 of 25, tourism from 10/7 of 24, 11/4 of 24, 12/9 of 24, and 1/6 of 25, and also department reports for file from the police, January of 2025, and treasury from 12 of 2024. And was there anybody signed up for public comment? Is there anybody who wanted to speak who did not get a chance to sign up? Okay. First item under new business is discussion of committees restructuring. And that is going to be.
Oh, I don't know. I think that would be
Matt?
Matt.
Let's see, I switched my microphone. Can you hear better?
A little bit better.
All right, I'll try and speak a little bit louder on this. So Paul and myself have worked on taking the comments received. You kind of go through my memo. It basically, the drafted ordinance eliminates the committee of the whole method. Now it requires all items to go to a committee before they would come to council, and that matters concerning public works, personnel, finance, or items that do not have a committee would come to a committee of the whole that meets before the council meeting, so that all issues can be addressed in one meeting. Paul and I went back and forth on this a little bit. The reason we're proposing before the meeting is tonight's a good example of a night where we had it before. Any of those items that were on the special COW tonight could have been held over by the council to March 18th or a future meeting for further discussion review if it was warranted. So I think Paul's looked at how we've ran the special COW in the last couple of instances, and it seems to have worked well, but it doesn't preclude an item from being held over if there is more input needed. It also, the ordinance goes on to require that there be 7 members and 3-year terms for all committees, unless there's a state statute that says differently. That all committee members would be appointed by the mayor in May, subject to approval by the council. There'd be a council member on each committee with voting rights, and that a member of city staff be on each committee to serve as secretary and be non-voting. The Senior Center Advisory Boards discussed changing the name to Community Center to so it'll become Community Center Committee. You'll note that Paul, from a consistency standpoint, has wiped out advisory boards and commissions and kind of made everything a committee. I had a kind of a discussion point to talk about the Parks and Recreation Committee and whether that should just be the Recreation Committee. In the past, park items have not really went to that committee, nor does the staff that, Amy Jo doesn't oversee park maintenance or park development. So it's one of these kind of gray areas of how to structure that. There were no changes made to tourism, joint review board, or ethics. Investment and streetlight committees have been eliminated. And then there's been some ongoing discussion about cable commission that we want some feedback on. As David and others have shared, the concern about how much longer cable will continue to be a viable entity. We've also had some challenges recruiting committee members for this committee, and that the items that would go to this committee could go straight to the committee of the whole and council in that format. And then I'd welcome additional things from Paul's perspective that I may have missed in going over this.
Matt did a really good job of hitting all the points that we put together as we went through, so I don't have anything to add at this time, but can answer questions if, or argue with people if necessary.
Turn my light on.
Alder Lawson?
So it says that unless otherwise required by statute, they're all going to have 7 members. Is the city staff person considered a member?
No.
Okay.
Alder Rostad?
Previous conversation when this came up, the majority was that the appointed alder representative could not be the chair of committees. That's not discussed in here. Is that something changed there?
No, we made it neutral so that if a committee member, if a sitting alder if the committee wanted the sitting alder to be the chair, then that would be an option, but it's not a requirement. So right now, it's not dictated either way.
I'll use the Police and Fire Commission as an example. Can the appointed alder be the president of that commission?
The Police and Fire Commission won't have any alders on it.
That's
That's a different animal altogether. Yes, that's a statutory setup that we have to follow.
Okay. And then the 7-member, or the appointment by the mayor is just the alders, correct? It's not specified here, it just says he or she will appoint subject to approval by the council.
Right, the council will have to, the first meeting in May is going to be a rather interesting exercise because it's set up that the mayor makes all the appointments at the first meeting of May, which will be basically the second meeting of the new council when it comes around. So that is going to be a little bit of a tight window, but the mayor will make the appointment subject to a affirmative vote of the 6 alders.
So for clarification though, of the alders that are going to be appointed to the committee or all the committee members?
All of the alders.
Just the alders?
Right.
Alders-
Committee members.
Well, but committee members also.
All committee members.
All committee
Okay.
members, yeah.
I
Whose ever
would-
term is up, so.
Yes, I would anticipate that it'll be similar to how you handled the appointments tonight, where if the mayor is on top of its game, we'll have a long list of here's all the appointments, and the alders can appoint the entire list all in one fell swoop. And I'm not overly concerned about any. I don't see any conflict of interest by doing it that way about certain people being on certain committees or anything along that line, so I think it'll be pretty clean.
Thank you.
Alder Finkler?
I just have a comment. I do like everything that's suggested in here. I have no concerns about the special committee of the whole being before the council meeting. It does help us move along stuff and not to hold it up. And as Matt had mentioned, we do have the opportunity to postpone anything to a future meeting if we do feel that we would like to get some feedback. So I feel like this gives us some flexibility.
And by having it set up this way, you'll actually have 2 opportunities, because the special committee of the whole, if you don't want to move it forward to council, you can hold it back. And if it does get out of the committee and goes to council, which of course is the same group of people, but if there's a few minutes to think about something, you can always hold it at the council level as well. So you're not taking away any of your power right now.
Mayor Hammer?
The only main concern that I have is, 7 members for all, because sometimes it's a struggle depending on the committee to get members for that.
I thought about that for a while, and a majority of your current commissions and committees are 7. Going to 5, there's no magic number here, so you could have 15 if you wish, but I don't think that's your desire.
No.
But 5 is very common, 7 is very common.
Right.
So if you wanted to reduce it to 5, that would not be out of bounds.
Are some of the ones that are hard to find people for, Joe, like suggested to be eliminated or grouped together?
Well, Cable Commission was one of them.
Yeah.
Beautification has been somewhat of a struggle because I think they've lost 2 members. So community center board can sometimes be a struggle too, but I think for the majority of the rest, it's good, but.
And I chose to make them all uniform. You don't have to do that either. I just thought that it would be a little bit cleaner if every committee is 7, or 5 if you choose, instead of the mishmash that you have now. But if there was a reason to have a smaller committee because of what the task is, that's up to you.
Alder Rostad?
But by making them small, I mean, the reason we're doing this is to, how do I say it? The reason we're trying to do this is so that they have more say and they'll come to the council, so we alleviate the committee of the whole, correct?
Right. Well, yes, the main reason that you're doing this is, well, in my opinion, the main reason that you're doing this is to try to get a more citizen involvement at the committee level and streamline your process, so when things get here, it moves much more efficiently and well, faster than it does right now.
So if we would shrink it to 5, a quorum would be 3?
That is correct.
I don't think that's, I think we stay with what's presented at 7. Because if we're giving them the power or to bring stuff to us, I think it'd be hard to vote with 3. And then my only other question, the cemetery board has advisory position, so.
The cemetery board is a totally different animal as well.
Okay.
That's next on your list. That's next on my list.
Okay.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. I definitely would not want to require everyone to go down to 5. I think that would just block out too many voices. I also hate the idea of everyone having to have 7. I really prefer the 5 to 7 range, depending on the different committee. I know almost everyone likes to have things the same and simple, but I just don't know if it's the best, most practical idea. And also, I just worry about too many things going to the committees where there is less exposure to the public to find out what's happening before it bubbles to the day that we're going to be voting on it. I just feel like we're taking a little bit of the larger citizens' voice and trying to give voice to the smaller groups of citizens.
Alder Lawson?
We have in here, we're changing the Parks and Recs Committee to just recreation, right?
That is being proposed, yes.
So there's still a reference to Park and Rec Committee that's remaining. I think it's on page 47.
That's one of the things that, based on the direction we got tonight, would need to be cleaned up in the final ordinance draft that comes to the council.
Okay.
And I guess your question about 5 versus 7 has posed a question for me in my head, Paul. Paul, if a committee has 7 seats and only 5 are filled, what does that change? What is their quorum when they meet? Is it still 4? Or
No.
if there are 2 vacancies, is it a majority of the numbers currently seated?
If you have, well, I think that is something that if you're going to go down that road, I would actually want to insert some language in this ordinance that addresses that. If you're going to have fluctuating numbers, some ordinances are just members present, a majority of members present, but if you have 2 vacancies and you have 5, then 3 would be a quorum. And sometimes your ordinance this is more statutory than anything else, but sometimes your rule is that it is a member of, you have to have a majority of all that are appointed. So you'd be creating a gray area by going back and forth with 5 and 7. So I think that if you want some of these committees to be smaller, then we can go away from the uniformity that I was trying to meet and actually just say, and beautification is a perfect example, because that is, maybe 7 is too many. So let's not have 7, let's have 5. And Park and Recreation is a bigger project, so maybe you want 9 on that one or something along that line. I started here. If we get to the point where we're going to have a difference, then it would probably be a good idea to, it would be a good idea to spell out the quorum requirement a little bit better than what I have right now, because right now it's 4, 7 for every committee, and majority is a quorum.
The reason I asked the question was the idea that we have 7 seats on a commission. If only 5 are filled, that committee could still meet and allow for the eventual expansion as additional members may present themselves. That's the only reason I asked the question.
Right.
Alder Lawson?
Okay, so I still think that some of the park stuff should go somewhere, and if if recreation is all recreation, that's fine. I still think the combination of beautification and parks makes sense. I mean, there's already things in here about park plantings, shrubs, flowers, things like that. They've always had that DPW representative that worked with the beautification committee, and maybe that's that we're getting hung up on beautification as the committee name. It makes sense if we're trying to move more through these kind of subcommittees before getting to council.
I actually stand corrected because I went on the website and just looked at all the different committees, and most of them are at 7. It's I think there's just 1 or 2 that are at the 5 range. So, and that stays by statute. But
The PFC, you'll notice there's a few committees that I didn't touch in going through here, and those are the ones that are statutorily driven. The PFC is statutory, the Tourism Commission is statutory, the Joint Review Board for TIF districts is statutory. So those didn't get lumped into this. The committees that we're dealing with here are ones that the city has chosen to create over the last 50 years or whatever.
Anybody else have any other questions, concerns, comments? Comfortable moving?
Do they have enough direction
Do you have enough direction, Matt?
for corrections?
For corrections?
I believe so. The one clarification question I want is, I actually like Alder Lawson's suggestion of having park items kind of lumped in with beautification. I think it makes a lot of sense based on the work that they're doing. Is there interest for us to draft the ordinance to reflect that?
I would be interested in seeing that.
Matt, are you proposing to get rid of the beautification committee and make it part of the parks?
No, I don't know what the name would be, but that the idea that the existing beautification committee, that park-related items would go to that committee.
Oh,
Not rec, but park.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you.
Just because the Public Works is kind of de facto the staff that deals with park items, and they staff the beautification committee.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. Yes, well, definitely on one hand, it makes a lot of sense to put parks with beautification. I'm just wondering if it will make sense for the individuals currently attracted to beautification, whether they'll be up for handling the day-to-day and year-round maintenance issues.
Conveniently, they meet next Monday, and I can have this discussion with them at their next meeting to get some input from them before this comes back to council.
Thank you. Excellent timing.
Alder Rosted?
And then are we tentatively, what's the tentative date we look at this?
My goal is to have this done with this council. So that when May rolls around, the mayor has work to do.
So April 2nd would be our first go-round?
Yeah, you would preferably want to approve this the first meeting of April.
So set the 2nd.
Well, I'm actually working with Susan to get the current who's up on their committees and then, start working on recruiting, so.
Perfect. Any other questions? Matt, you have enough direction now? All right, perfect. Moving right along, next item for discussion is regarding the structure for the Public Works Department. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I think everyone's aware that we've kind of had a tumultuous go at Public Works in terms of a leadership standpoint. As I discussed with you, I crafted the position to be a lead staff, very similar to how the utilities have a lead in each of their disciplines. We reviewed applicants. We had 3 applicants for the DPW lead position. One of them met the qualifications that we were looking for in terms of supervisory experience. We interviewed that candidate. It's clear to me that he has extensive background and experience in project management, project estimation, long track record in the private sector, but that his background doesn't fit working as a lead, working with the crew. He'd much more fit the roles and duties of a public works director, and I didn't want to force something into a situation that maybe wasn't the right fit. So I brought this to you for some discussion because I can't make the decision to hire him as a public works director. That would be something that the council would have to authorize me to go out and make that offer to an individual.
Alder Rosted?
I guess my first question is it legal, since it wasn't posted as a director position, to fill that position?
It's a good question. Fair hiring practices.
Yeah, and employment law is not my strong suit, but in my opinion, I think you'd be fine to. I think you'd be fine. You're looking for the right person, and you're going to have to go through the hiring process with this person anyway. So the title that you put on it right now, I wouldn't be overly concerned with.
Did you have another question?
And then I guess my suggestion would be that we fill that position as a public works director if said applicant would accept a conditional offer.
Alder Lawson?
So is there another option of offering the Public Works lead to that individual and then upon review of their performance after whatever, a normal probationary period is, elevating them to a director if appropriate?
That's probably the best recommendation I've gotten in this whole discussion as I've talked with people. I've bounced this off a lot of other city administrators. Just number one, having the discussion of how they've been filling public works position, because this is becoming a growing topic of every community is struggling in this regard. So actually, I really like that suggestion. My concern is that the candidate comes back and isn't comfortable with that. Are we willing to lose them, or do I have the negotiation ability to go up to that point, would be the question.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that? I personally would be comfortable allowing you to use your judgment in conversation with this individual if they didn't want to accept the lead position and then promote, but that's just me. Alder Austin?
This meeting is public, so now that that's aired, my suggestion is to fill this position with said candidate as the Public Works Director. And if he or she accepts or declines, then we come back to council or COW and figure it out from there.
Is everybody, Alder Finkler? Alder Reed, you were first.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm also leaning towards offering the Public Works Director position right off the bat.
Alder Finkler?
Ditto.
Mayor Hammer?
I concur. You know, we've got to get somebody in that position, and it's only going to make things easier for everybody overall. You know, and especially you, Matt. It's going to hopefully take a burden off of you. So,
Alder Lawson, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think, Matt, that's your answer. Any other discussion points on this topic? Okay. If not, our next item would be to convene into closed session per state statute 19.851E for deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investment of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically to discuss 1149 West James Street. And I would need a motion for that.
So move.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Oh, Alder Lawson? Nope. Okay. Hearing none.
Amy?
Could I have a roll call, Susan?
Who made the motion and second?
Rosted made the motion.
And Finkler made the second.
Thank you. Roll call. Rostad.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Welke.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Hammer.
aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Okay.
Ayes have it.
Thank you, Susan. We are going into closed session. We will not be coming back onto the air tonight. Everybody have a good night. Thank you.